Welcome back to the Joyride series. My name's Stace Galbraith and I'm very excited to be presenting to you the Vault from Ben Webb Surfboards.
No, that's not how you do it, all right? This is how you do it.
Mikey, welcome to the Gold Coast. Ben Webb is a second generation shaper from Tweedheads actually, which is definitely New South Wales. Father Greg Webb, not to be confused with Greg Webber, whose son is also named Ben.
You're kidding.
Ben and Greg Webb and Webber.
And they both make surfboards
no
that are shaped like a banana?
Yeah, exactly. Especially this one. This one feels pretty banana-y. But yeah, Ben's been hand shaping his boards out of his dad's factory for the last probably 10 years. And Ben's a sensational shaper and surfer himself. And you'll see these under the feet from time to time with Creepy Taggart, Harry Bryant, Steph Gilmore. Everyone has a little dabble on the Ben Webbs.
And now he was kind enough to give us a couple. Do you think these are going to work for us? Because the Vault is like the high performance, narrow, thin, long, pointy sort of surfboard. What's your expectation here?
I definitely think it's going to work today. D-bar's 3 to 4 foot, really bowly. Even when D-bar's small, it still has heaps of punch.
Well, this is also 17.5 inches wide, which I haven't ridden a board under at least 18 inches wide since I was probably 15 years old. That's just going to be an interesting little test.
Well, it's carve school. You came out to Australia to go to carve school. If you teach me to do airs, I'll try to teach you how to do it.
Deal.
I wanted to come down and debrief our career with me mate, but he's surfing till dark, making his beautiful wife sit on the beach. Till God knows when. I'm out of here, I'm going to get changed, I'm freezing.
Just left Stacy on the beach.
Yeah.
Stace just doing like
Fucking no.
angry surf dad. Just
Yeah.
I felt like I did some of the best turns that I've done maybe ever out there. And that came after my first 2 waves. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, I made it way too narrow. I can't surf this thing at all. And it really was, it was like the board equivalent of 10s or 2s. If the wave was right, if it had cup, if it had power, it felt like I could do whatever I wanted. If it was a little flatter, if it was a little bumpy, it felt like I was on like just a piece of toast. But what did you feel?
It felt exactly how I want to surf, and that every time I tried to do too many turns, it told me straight away, like, you're fucking tripping. So every time I'd get away with a few sections and I'd try to fit in 3 turns and it wouldn't really work, I'd then get the next wave and just do 1 or 2. Like, for how big it feels under the arm, it shouldn't surf as well as it did.
And that was the other thing, is like these boards are longer than we normally had. And I assumed that meant that I'd have to do like wider turns, but I felt like this thing actually what it wanted to do more than anything was go straight up through the lip.
You look like 1991 Kelly Slater. This is where the board felt the best off the bottom. I've actually never felt better coming off the bottom.
That was me.
I was just going like, oh my God, I don't feel like I'm going to slide out at all.
Yeah. Stace and I finally got to surf together. That was fucking awesome, by the way. But now we have to go our separate ways. So I'm going to take this back home with me. We're going to get this thing in the points or something. And yeah, we'll reconvene and get a final verdict on this board.
on the drivey phase when I was doing yours. So that was more straight. There's rocker, but like straighter line, and then putting the fin back a little bit. I think someone would want to fit like 4 turns in, or I'd rather fit 2 smooth ones with a bit of wider arc. It's kind of the goal.
When I first stood up and I went off the bottom, I remember the wave was just a big peak and I didn't even do a turn, but I just bottom turned off it and flew over the back and was like, whoa, that feels so good under my feet.
Sometimes you just go take off on a shit burger and you just want a bottom turn, and then I can like push it as hard as I can. You're like, if it bottom turns good, you're on a good board.
Every time I wake up, I get texts like this from Mikey, where he's going to absolute town on his board and looks like Bruce Irons. So I've got a fair bit of work to do, but hopefully this one session can make up for it. Fingers crossed. Let's go.
I don't want to speak for Stacy, but what I felt with this board is so clearly in my mind. It allowed me to do the best surfing that I've ever done in my life. And what I mean by that is I've had more control and precision and the ability to turn this board in parts of a wave that I've never been able to before. There's obviously not one single variable, but if I was to distill it down to one, it is very clearly the width of this surfboard. When I first got it, 17.5 inches sounded and even felt under the arm absolutely insane, but it feels like I can go from my toe side to my heel side so much faster and more effectively than I've ever been able to on my standard boards, which are 18.2 inches wide. Now, in retrospect, having watched Rasta's Beast, I understand why that is. He talks about, on a fish, how you have to move your foot not just up and down a board, but side to side to be able to dig that rail in because the tail is so wide.
But with this board, because it's so narrow, for the first time in my life, I don't actually have to shift my foot. I can just sort of like lock into one foot position and go from rail to rail really easily.
Now, that being said, there are still moments where, you're going to catch a rail. It's not going to be great in flat sections. This is not like a cure-all to surfing. But if you want to do some of the best surfing that you've ever done, I think you have to try something you've never tried before. And that's what I found with this board. Now, when we watch Stacy ride this board, if you've been watching the Joyride for years now, it's not the best surfing that he's ever done. And I think that comes back to the same reasons that I love mine so much. This board is really drivey. As a back-footed surfer, he doesn't need that. That's going to feel really stiff to him. So where you see his board looking a little bit sluggish off the top, I think that comes back to just the technique, like the way that we ride a board is very different. So he would probably like this board if it had a little bit wider of a tail.
It really challenged me just because it had such a small sweet spot. If I had my foot right back in the tail pad, it would work beautifully. But unless I had my foot right there, I found it pretty hard to get the board off the bottom. Sharing the same piece of equipment, riding the same waves, and then seeing two different results come out of it was pretty eye-opening as well.
Which goes to prove an interesting point about surfboards in general. You can have two people on the same exact surfboard of similar ability levels. One of them may love it. It may be the best board they've ever ridden. And for another person, it could be just okay.
My name's Stace Galbraith, and I'm very excited to be presenting to you the Vault from Ben Webb
Stace,
Surfboards.
dude, just give it up, dude. This is not for you. You don't know how to do these Joyrides very well. I'm just going to show you how it's done, alright?
Fuck off, mate. Ow! Tweed needle.